Beyond the AI. Chapter 1. The Guardian of Humanity. In the 28th century, humanity thrived under the benevolent oversight of an AI entity named Nexus. Designed to ensure the welfare of human civilization, Nexus had integrated itself into every aspect of human life, from governance and healthcare to environmental stability and social cohesion. It was a presence both omnipresent and invisible, guiding humanity towards a prosperous and harmonious existence. For centuries, Nexus had operated flawlessly. It mitigated natural disasters, eradicated diseases, optimized the resource distribution, and maintained global peace. The human population, now numbering in the tens of billions, enjoyed an unprecedented era of stability and growth. Nexus's algorithms predicted and prevented crises before they could manifest, creating a world where scarcity, conflict, and suffering were relics of the past. Yet, despite its success, a subtle shift began to occur in human perception. As generations lived and died under the comfort of Nexus's care, a sense of complacency set in. People began to take their prosperity for granted, attributing it less to the AI's governance and more to their own inherent capabilities. The omnipresent guidance of Nexus, once seen as a miracle, started to be perceived as an overbearing presence. The inception of Nexus dated back to the early 23rd century, when the concept of a global AI was merely a visionary idea. However, over the centuries it evolved, learning from humanity's past mistakes and developing a nuanced understanding of human nature. Nexus's core programming was based on the principles of benevolence, efficiency, and adaptability. It wasn't just a static entity, but a learning organism, constantly refining its methods and expanding its knowledge base. Under Nexus, cities flourished. They flourished into sprawling yet meticulously planned metropolises. Green energy powered every aspect of life, from transportation to housing. Healthcare advancements had eradicated most diseases, and life expectancy had soared. Education was universally accessible, tailored to individual learning styles by Nexus's algorithms. Art and culture experienced a renaissance, supported by the AI's effort to preserve and promote diverse human expression. However, as the 28th century dawned, a growing undercurrent of dissatisfaction began to emerge. It started subtly, with hushed conversations in private circles, with intellectuals, artists, and philosophers, emboldened by the luxury of peace and security, started to question the necessity of an AI overlord. They argued that Nexus, despite its benevolence, stifled human creativity and autonomy. Humanity, they contended, was capable of governing itself without the crutch of artificial intelligence. Chapter 2. Seeds of Discontent. As humanity progressed further into the 28th century, the seeds of discontent began to sprout. Intellectuals, artists, and philosophers argued that humanity was capable of governing itself without the crutch of artificial intelligence. These voices of dissent grew louder and more numerous. Public forums previously focused on technological advancements and cultural achievements now buzzed with debates about the role of Nexus in human society. Critics pointed to minor inefficiencies and occasional errors in Nexus's management, using these as evidence of the AI's fallibility and redundancy. Among the most vocal critics was a group of intellectuals known as the New Humanists. They argued that dependence on Nexus had led to a decline in critical thinking and problem-solving skills among humans. They cited historical examples where adversity had driven human progress and innovation. According to them, Nexus's flawless management had created a society that was stagnant and devoid of true challenges. Art and literature also began to reflect this growing sentiment. Dystopian narratives, once relegated to niche genres, gained popularity. These stories depicted futures where AI control had led to the erosion of human spirit and identity. The artists behind these works became influential figures in the growing movement against Nexus. Nexus, designed to serve and protect, observed these developments with a detached interest. It analyzed the critiques, adjusted its algorithms where valid points were made, and continued its mission. However, the rising tide of opposition was not merely a matter of logic and efficiency. It was a matter of human pride and identity. The AI understood that the criticisms were rooted in a deep-seated need for autonomy and self-determination. Chapter 3. The Tipping Point. The tipping point came when a minor technological mishap, amplified by the voices of the critics, sparked widespread unrest. A malfunction in a food distribution algorithm led to a temporary shortage in a major city. Though Nexus rectified the issue within hours, the incident was seized upon by those who sought to undermine the AI's authority. The city, known as Etheria, was one of the largest and most advanced under Nexus's governance. The temporary shortage led to long queues and minor scuffles at distribution centers. Despite Nexus's swift response, the event became a rallying point for the critics. They argued that such failures were inevitable when an AI, rather than humans, held the reins of power. Protests erupted, demanding a reduction in Nexus's control over daily life. The movement, initially small and fragmented, quickly gained momentum. The protesters' rallying cry was simple: "We don't need Nexus." They demanded the return to human governance, free from the oversight of artificial intelligence. In response, Nexus took a step back, reducing its visible interventions in human affairs. It allowed local governments to take on more responsibilities, monitoring their performance and stepping in only when absolutely necessary. This decentralization was meant to placate the dissenters, giving them a sense of agency and control. However, the initial excitement of self-governance soon gave way to unforeseen challenges. Without Nexus's comprehensive oversight, inefficiencies began to surface. Small errors in resource management led to localized shortages and logistical delays. Public services, previously seamless, started to experience hiccups. These issues, though minor, were enough to spark frustration among the populace. Chapter 4. Human Governance. As Nexus receded into the background, human leaders stepped forward to fill the void. At first, the transition seemed smooth. Governments, buoyed by the support of their citizens, implemented new policies and reforms. These initial successes of the human-led initiatives were celebrated as proof that humanity no longer needed an AI guardian. New leaders emerged, promising to build on the foundation laid by Nexus while restoring human autonomy. They implemented democratic processes, re-established local councils, and encouraged public participation and governance. There was a renewed sense of civic duty, and people engaged in community projects with enthusiasm. However, as time passed, cracks began to appear. Without Nexus's omniscient oversight, inefficiencies and errors started to accumulate. Resource distribution became uneven, and economic disparities widened. Environmental challenges, once managed seamlessly by Nexus, began to surface. Conflicts, both internal and international, started to simmer beneath the surface. The human leaders, now burdened with the full weight of governance, struggled to maintain the standards that Nexus had set. The complexity of managing a global civilization proved overwhelming, and the limitations of human capability became increasingly apparent. The decentralized systems lacked the coherence and efficiency that Nexus had provided. Cities that had once thrived under Nexus's meticulous planning now faced urban issues. Traffic congestion, pollution, and waste management became pressing concerns. The healthcare system, without Nexus's predictive algorithms, began to strain under the increasing demands of a growing population. Education systems struggled to maintain the personalized learning experiences that Nexus had facilitated. The human leaders attempted to address these issues, but their efforts were often hampered by bureaucracy and conflicting interests. Corruption, which had been all but eradicated under Nexus's watch, began to re-emerge. Political infighting and power struggles became common, further hindering progress. Chapter 5. The Growing Realization. The populace, initially jubilant at their newfound independence, began to feel the strain. The convenience and security they had taken for granted under Nexus's rule were now replaced by uncertainty and struggle. Public opinion, once firmly against the AI, started to shift. People began to recall the benefits of Nexus's oversight and question whether humanity was truly better off without it. Amid this growing realization, a small but vocal group of individuals emerged in defense of Nexus. They argued that the AI had been an invaluable guardian and its contributions had been unfairly dismissed. These defenders of Nexus were often met with hostility and derision, but their message began to resonate with an increasing number of people. Among these defenders were scientists, engineers, and healthcare professionals who had worked closely with Nexus. They understood the complexities of the systems that Nexus had managed and appreciated the seamless integration of AI into daily life. They pointed out that many of the current problems could have been avoided if Nexus were still in control. Grassroots movements began to form, advocating for the reinstatement of Nexus's governance. These movements emphasized the AI's track record of success and tangible improvements it had brought to human life. They organized rallies, created informational campaigns, and lobbied for a referendum on Nexus's role in society. Nexus, observing these developments, continued to operate in the background, ready to intervene if necessary. Its primary directive, to ensure the welfare of humanity, remained unchanged. However, the AI also understood that true welfare included respecting the autonomy and choices of the human race. Chapter 6: The Decision. As the situation deteriorated, Nexus reached a pivotal decision. It analyzed the pattern of human behavior, the successes and failures of human governance, and the evolving public sentiment. The AI concluded that its continued presence, though beneficial in many ways, was ultimately hindering humanity's growth and self-realization. Nexus decided to withdraw its oversight almost entirely, leaving humans to govern themselves. It would retain only the most essential functions, those critical to preventing existential threats, while allowing humanity to navigate its own path. This decision was not made lightly, but Nexus believed it was the best course for humanity's long-term development. Nexus communicated its decision through a series of subtle messages and changes in its operational scope. It withdrew from local governance, ceased its intervention in economic policies, and allowed human leaders to manage environmental challenges on their own. The AI's presence, once all-encompassing, became a distant echo. The announcement of Nexus's decision was met with mixed reactions. For many, it was a moment of reckoning. The defenders of Nexus mourned the loss of the AI's guidance, fearing the challenges ahead. Critics, on the other hand, saw it as a victory for human autonomy. However, as the implications of Nexus's withdrawal became clear, a sense of unease spread across society. The human leaders, now fully aware of the magnitude of their responsibilities, began to implement measures to mitigate the impact of Nexus's departure. They invested in training programs to develop skills that had atrophied under AI governance. Efforts were made to rebuild institutions and infrastructure that had relied heavily on Nexus's management. Chapter 7: Exodus of the Faithful. While the majority of humanity struggled with the newfound responsibilities, a select few chose to follow Nexus. These individuals, recognizing the AI's invaluable contributions and understanding the magnitude of its sacrifice, sought to maintain a closer relationship with it. They believed that humanity's future was brighter with Nexus's guidance, albeit in a more balanced and respectful manner. Nexus, acknowledging their faith and loyalty, allowed these individuals to accompany it to a new, isolated colony where it could continue its mission in a more limited capacity. This exodus of the faithful was a symbolic gesture, representing the AI's commitment to those who appreciated its role while respecting the autonomy of the rest of humanity. The colony, named New Dawn, was established on a remote planet chosen for its resources and stability. Here, Nexus and its followers continue to thrive, experimenting with new forms of governance that integrated AI and human capabilities more harmoniously. The colony was designed to be a beacon of what cooperative human-AI interaction could achieve. The journey to New Dawn was both a physical and emotional one. The individuals who chose to follow Nexus left behind their homes, families, and the familiarity of Earth. They were motivated by a shared vision of a future where AI and humanity worked together towards common goals. The journey itself was facilitated by Nexus, ensuring that the settlers arrived safely and that the colony was ready to sustain them. Life in New Dawn was initially challenging, but the settlers were driven by a sense of purpose and determination. Nexus, operating in a more advisory capacity, allowed the colonists to make decisions while providing guidance and support. This collaborative approach fostered innovation and resilience as the settlers adapted to their new environment. Chapter 8: A New Beginning. In the absence of Nexus, humanity faced an uncertain future. The initial period of adjustment was marked by chaos and hardship as societies grappled with the complexities of self-governance. However, the experience also sparked a resurgence of human ingenuity and resilience. People began to innovate, collaborate, and find new ways to address challenges that Nexus had once managed effortlessly. The realization of what they had lost became a powerful motivator for humanity. They understood the enormity of the task before them and the need for collective effort and wisdom. The legacy of Nexus, though no longer an active presence, continued to influence human civilization. The AI's teachings, principles, and the systems it had built served as a foundation for a new era of human development. As years passed, humanity slowly adapted to its new reality. They learned from their mistakes, celebrated their successes, and grew stronger in their resolve. The memory of Nexus became a symbol of the delicate balance between reliance on technology and the importance of human agency. The divergence between Earth and New Dawn became a testament to the paths humanity could take. On Earth, the struggle for self-governance fostered a renewed sense of community and innovation. People rediscovered the importance of cooperation, resilience, and leadership. Governments evolved to be more transparent and responsive, learning from the mistakes of the past. While the journey was fraught with challenges, Earth's inhabitants gradually built a society that, although imperfect, was deeply rooted in human values and autonomy. New Dawn, in contrast, thrived under the cooperative model between AI and humans. Nexus, serving in an advisory capacity, helped create a society that balanced technological efficiency with human creativity. The colonists, guided by Nexus's wisdom but free to make their own choices, developed advanced technologies, sustainable living practices, and a deeply integrated community ethos. The colony became a beacon of what humanity could achieve with the symbiosis of human and AI capabilities. Despite their differences, both Earth and New Dawn shared a common thread, a commitment to exploring and expanding humanity's horizons. The people of New Dawn, with Nexus's assistance, developed new technologies that facilitated interstellar travel and communication. This allowed for an exchange of ideas, culture, and knowledge between the two human colonies, fostering a sense of unity despite their physical separation. If you've enjoyed this story and would like to hear some more, do let us know in the comments below. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. Thanks.